When they move up in class, they'll be ready. We saw him against Bones Adams in his last fight, in which he won when Adams was injured with his shoulder, but they make the point that the injury occurred because of a punch they feel that Frankie Toledo threw against him. He's very clever, as is Hector Acero. What you're going to see in this bout are a couple of boxers who are extremely quick and clever.
And so the fighters starting to make their way in now as you take a look at Frankie Toledo. Frank has a brother who is a professional fighter as well, fighting out of Paterson, New Jersey. And as we said, he will have the home fans in attendance here at Bally's. Always a very good boxing crowd here at Bally's.
This is a great room. The crowd is into it. They're pretty knowledgeable, and they don't sit on their hands.
You see his last fight, a TKO over Bones Adams.
And Adams was ranked in the top 10 by several organizations when that fight took place, so it was a good win for him.
And here is a look at Hector Acero. Hector Acero Sanchez, actually. His brother uses the name Sanchez, which is his mother's name, and Hector uses the name Acero, which is his father's name. So Hector Acero Sanchez, the real name. Hector Acero is what he prefers to go by in the ring.
And he's a young man who was greatly disappointed in his last fight when he fought Eddie Croft in Madison Square Garden. Everyone pretty much thought he won that fight, but he ended up being a draw.
All business sort of guy, as is his opponent, Frankie Toledo. And the one thing that does make this fight a little bit different is the fact that Frankie Toledo is a left-hander. Hector Acero, however, has been in there against a number of left-handers, won just 2 fights ago. Let's get to Michael Buffer now.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Bally's Park Place here on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey, where tonight it's top-ranked boxing on ESPN, brought to you by the undisputed, undefeated King of Beers, Budweiser. Proud to be your bud. All the bouts here tonight are sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazard Sr. Let's get things started, ladies and gentlemen, with a 10-round bout. This is in the junior featherweight division. When the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Benji Estevez. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks with blue trim, weighing in at 123 pounds. Fighting out of Paterson, New Jersey, he brings an excellent record of 19-2, 5 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Frankie the Shark Toledo. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with gold trim, weighing in at 122 pounds, from the Bronx in the Big Apple, New York City. His record, also outstanding, 28 victories, only 1 defeat with 1 draw, 20 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Hector Acero Sanchez.
Okay, boxers, you've been giving your instructions. Obey my commands at all times and protect yourself at all times. Touch up. Good luck to both of you.
Pretty good stare down. I'd call that a draw.
Well, Frankie Toledo, as you look at him, he was a little distressed that Acero was strongly suggesting that he would beat him.
Frankie, a very positive guy, as is his entire camp. They were on our case this morning for inferring that we had called him just a tune-up fight for Bones Adams, which I don't remember saying, to tell you the truth, but
we are always open to constructive criticism, however.
Absolutely. And he won the fight. What, after all, is the bottom line? A couple of nice guys, Frankie Toledo and Hector Acero. Acero will give you a lot of different looks. Frankie Toledo with 2 losses, but both of those very early in his career. He lost 2 of his first 5 fights, including his second to Benjamin Amparo, and then he was knocked out by Freddie Liberatore, and that was a very tough fight for him at that stage of his career.
Yeah, that was difficult. Liberatore, I think, had a little more experience, and of course, Freddie, a powerful fighter. Acero and Toledo, too, you can say this about both of them, are excellent defensive fighters. They don't get hit very often.
Acero's only loss coming in Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic back in September of 1991. He was knocked out by Jose Garcia.
We talked to Hector about fighting a left-hander and how difficult it can be, but they felt that he's fought a lot of left-handers in his amateur career and several as a pro, and that wouldn't be a huge problem for him. And they had a lot of sparring with lefties.
He had 305 amateur fights, and for some reason in the amateurs you do see a lot of left-handers as opposed to once you turn professional. Although 2 fights ago he fought a guy by the name of Ishmael Sanders, who was a left-hander, and handled him to win the New York State Championship.
Well, let's go through the rudiments, folks. When you're fighting a lefty, you want to keep your left foot outside their right foot. So far, Sanchez, see, he did it there and he landed a left hook. Toledo wants to get his right foot outside that left foot so he can be in a perfect position to land punches. Acero only threw 13 punches in the first 2 minutes of this fight, so you can see that he isn't totally figured out the left-handed style yet.
One thing he does want to do is stay off the rope, something that he felt got himself in trouble, and particularly in trouble in the eyes of the judges in his last fight against Eddie Croft. So he's trying to keep things in the middle of the ring. End of the first round, little to choose between these two in round number 1. And we'll be back to Bally's after this.
Here is an unorthodox way of landing against a lefty. The right misses, and then the straight left gets there. And the reason it got there is because he was stepping to his left, Hector Acero, and the punch was able to get there.
Frankie Toledo giving Acero a lot of lateral movement. Here are the numbers in the first round. Neither man exactly loading up. Toledo throwing more punches, but very low connect percentage for both men in the first round.
Now Acero is starting to be a little more aggressive, trying to press the action to get to Toledo. We have not seen one left hook yet from Acero. We've seen jabs, we've not seen one hook. I subscribe to the theory that it is almost impossible, if you're a right-handed fighter, to beat a southpaw without throwing left hooks. You can do it if you get lucky and land right hands, or if the southpaw squares himself up to you. But other than that, you almost have to throw left hooks.
Each man's sort of waiting for the other here. Nothing of any significance through the first 4.5 minutes of this fight. Both men missing in large part what they are throwing.
Yeah, it's been quiet. These guys are not figuring out how to get any offense going. They told us today that Acero was in the best shape of his life. He had been training for a February 18th fight against Jesus Salud. That didn't come off.
Well, still, it's been much ado, but not very much through the first 2 rounds. Neither man making very much noise. And this is an extremely tough round to score. We'll be back.
Leave it.
Good look at Hector Acero as he comes out to face Frank Toledo. Acero 28-1-2 over his career with 20 knockouts, so he's got some pop. Frank Toledo, as we said, lost 2 of his first 5 and has not lost since then. The numbers through 2 rounds, and that is not anything you want to write home about.
In the corner of Frankie Toledo is a guy that longtime watchers of Top Rank Boxing will remember. Diego Rosario, very good fighter. He produced in this town in Atlantic City one of the great fights I remember against Johnny Carter. It's a terrific fight that we had here against him. He is training Frankie Toledo.
Fight after 2 rounds, but I'll tell you what, both those rounds could have gone either way.
Yeah, there's very little to choose from. And I mean, the connect percentage is gruesome.
And I think that could be directly attributable to the fact that they're both at such long range that no matter who makes a move has to lunge a little bit.
Yeah. Obviously, this is going to be a pretty easy night for Punch Profile. I know, let's see, they're tapping the button once every 25 seconds, I think, on punches thrown, and about once every 50 seconds on punches connected.
They kid around. Logan Hobson's doing it with his nose now.
And accurately, I might add.
Yes.
That's the interesting thing. Now, there's Toledo. You know, your point is very well taken. Because they're so far away, everything is a lunge, and thus everything is falling short, and even if it doesn't land with much power. There's a hook. Thank you. That's the first time that Acero has thrown a left hook in this fight, and he landed it. Right there. See, he's in perfect position, Acero, when he gets in close to Toledo to throw the hook, and he's not doing it. It's not his stock and trade left hooks, but he does have one because I saw him throw it against Croft. I swear I did.
Yes. Decent body shot. He fought a very different fight against Eddie Croft.
And it was a different guy he was facing. Croft was coming to him. He was laying on the ropes, moving left to right. There's the hook. Seen it lands against Toledo.
Body shot by Toledo. He's gotten a couple here in this 3rd round. But once again, this is a flip a coin to see who won it round. We'll be back. Well, a very bad cut over the right eye of Frank Toledo. And between rounds, we asked Benji Estevez, the referee, whether or not it was caused by headbutt. He said yes. So very sudden development here, and it is a pretty bad cut that they have not been able to stop completely.
And if this fight is stopped before the halfway point, it will be a technical draw.
A ways to go before the halfway point. Wow. Jabs are non-existent. I don't believe they will go too far with that cut. They may give it another round.
It's in a very bad spot, and kudos to the referee for noticing that it was a clash of heads. There was a real noticeable clash toward the end of that round.
Which is interesting because it's probably the first time literally the first time they've been close to each other.
Yeah, that is true. Must be sound like an old newspaper man. Kudos. They used to write that in all the old columns.
It's a print word. There's a left hand and a slip. And a good combination by Toledo. I think he's got Acero hurt.
And he's landing some pretty good right hooks, which is a good punch for him to throw. Because he's in position to throw it.
If Frank Toledo can get through this round, the cut has really not opened up a lot more than it had at the end of the last round. If they can, it usually takes a couple of rounds to really take care of a cut. If they get at least one more round, now he gets through the next round, the fight is halfway. Then, should the fight be stopped, it goes to the scorecard. So it's really kind of an interesting little scenario that will be played out over the next 4 minutes or so.
And Toledo has had a fairly good 4th round here.
Combination from Acero.
And there's the left hook from Acero. I'm telling you right now, unless he starts throwing a left hook, he'll never land anything against Toledo. That's the punch that will land for him.
Now he is starting to take that step to the left.
Yeah, you have to take a step to the left and you have to crank that hook up. Then you can come with the straight right hand. Even if you've just thrown the hook to keep that southpaw busy, you have to do that so you can throw the right hand.
Double right hand from Toledo, and he caught Acero ducking in that time. It's been a very good round for Frank Toledo. To go into the corner of Frank Toledo. Still some work to do on that eye.
Good cut, man. Al Gavin working in that corner.
You see that you heard him? Okay? And it's that floor. Listen to him.
Hey, still, listen to you, man.
He's weak. Now listen, you got him out of control. Now he's trying to knock you out. Now I want to see combinations. You know the trick, Frankie?
All right, forget about that.
Listen to this. You know the combinations?
Come here, Frank, put your head down.
Put your head. You know what combinations you do? I want to see them. Throw up a jab. You got to jab a little more. You hear? You let him come in without no jab. All right. And I want you to just say Frankie combination, okay? Drink this.
Move your head.
Here's where Frankie Toledo landed a pretty good right hook against Acero, and he had him a little wobbly for a moment or two there.
There was a short left that snuck in there as well. So we start the 5th round. Now remember, the halfway point of the fight is this round. So if they get through this round, and the fight should be stopped because of that cut over the right eye of Frank Toledo, then they would go to the scorecards. And Toledo coming off a very good round. I have Toledo in front by a point.
Through the 4th, you can see a slight edge for Toledo, and he has been a little less accurate than Acero, but throwing more punches, so thus landing a few more. Frankie Toledo is a very slippery and difficult guy to fight, as is Acero, but Toledo reminds me of Jake Rodriguez, the man that upset Charles Murray for the junior welterweight title.
Maybe not quite the brawler that Rodriguez was.
No, but that's true. Jake might be a little bit, but in the sense that they're both so hard to hit.
And you too with a 1-point edge to Frank Toledo.
Acero is making every single mistake you can make against the lefty. Look at this shot. His foot is inside the right foot of Toledo, so he can't get any leverage. Now that was a left hook, but not really a left hook. You have to be in a different position to throw that punch. He is staying right in front of Toledo, and thus Toledo was able to hit him a little bit more often.
Well, Acero's people said that he had been working in sparring with a left-hander. He couldn't get a sparring partner who was left-handed prior to the Ishmael Sanders fight. But this time he did. In fact, he said they had a whole gym full of them.
And whatever he did that was effective against them, he's not doing tonight.
Well, I really believe, you and I were talking about this earlier, but I really believe that once you get into the ring in the heat of battle and the fighter's instincts take over, and all your instincts tell you something else.
Well, that's what they have trainers for, isn't it? and that's why you train on a regular basis to program yourself. He's not moving to the left. Look at Acero. He feints to the left, then he goes to the right. That's not going to get it done for him. I mean, I can tell you, you cannot beat a lefty fighting this way. And even if Toledo doesn't have a fight where he's as sharp as he wants to be, look at how Acero is right in front of him, and something's going to land for Toledo.
Frank Toledo started to take the fight to Acero.
This is as bad a strategic fight as great a strategic fight as Acero fought against Croft, even in losing. That's how bad this one is in terms of strategy for him. It's the left hand that got in there by Acero.
But he's given Frank Toledo a lot of confidence. Halfway point now. We start round number 6. That means that if that cut should necessitate a stoppage of the fight, they would go to the judges' cards.
Now, there's a left hand that got in for Acero. You'd think by now they would have gotten the clue that he's going to have to try and throw some hooks, because that's what's landing. That's what lands when you're in position to throw it.
Good body shot, a left hand by Frank Toledo. You look at the numbers landed by Acero, and it is woeful. And they've done a pretty nice job on that cut.
Extremely good. I mentioned Al Gavin, one of the better cut men in boxing. See him work in a lot of bouts.
Acero's starting to get home with that left hand a little bit more now.
It's very hard to land a jab against a left-hander when you're a conventional fighter. You can use it to set things up, but you're not going to land it that often. And Acero has landed 14 of 83 jabs, we're told, by Punch Profile.
Your card now 2-point edge for Toledo.
And let me tell you something. Unless something changes here, and like that, left hook from Acero, Toledo's going to win every round from now on.
Well, Acero's having a much better round than this, the 6th.
He is doing a little better, but... See, when he dips down to the left, Acero, you notice how he can get something in when he throws it. And Toledo's not been as active as he might be. They want Toledo to fight Tracy Harris Patterson, the champion, one of the champions in this division.
They said they'd like to get him. Or either Wilfredo Vasquez.
There's Acero making Toledo miss. He's good at that. Also, Toledo's not listening to Diego Rosario when he said, jab your way in. Don't come in without the jab. And he hasn't done that as well in this round. And maybe this might be a round that Acero is winning simply because Toledo's been so inactive.
End of the 6th round. I believe a much better round for Hector Acero. City of New Jersey. Frankie Toledo with that cut over the eye. It has gotten no worse since the 2nd round. This round number 7, we're scheduled for 10. Now, a fight that I believe is there to be had for either man still.
Could well be. I mean, a lot of these rounds are going to be close and tough to judge.
Numbers would substantiate that.
Neither man landing at a percentage that they would be happy with. See, there's a hook, folks. When you face a lefty and you throw a left hook, you are going to land a percentage of them, even if you're in the wrong position, like Acero is. Nice right hook by Toledo, and that happened again because Acero was standing right in front of him. Frank Toledo has got a guy in there that's giving him every opportunity to land punches.
Your card, a 3-point.
I've got Toledo ahead. I ended up giving the last round by a slight, but you gave it, I think, to Acero.
I did, yeah. I have it a 1-point fight.
And you can make a strong case for that. Only Acero's innate defensive ability is allowing him not to be hit more. Because the way he's fighting would indicate he should be hit a lot. Now, he is starting to throw some hooks at Acero, but he's throwing them from the wrong position. You see in this shot where their feet are. You see? There's the right foot of Toledo outside the left foot of Acero. I can't emphasize this enough because it simply makes it impossible if you're a right-handed fighter to do well against the lefty. It cannot be done unless you're lucky and you land one big right hand. And why are there hundreds of trainers wandering around boxing who don't seem to know that. Why? Why is that? Why am I asking you? That's another question.
I'm still working on the meaning of life.
That might be an easier one to answer. I think Sartre had the answer to that.
I think he did.
Something existential.
Life is a moving river.
Yeah, that's it.
And so is a left hand.
Yes. You see, the boxing and other things existential. We should write a book. There's the hook by Sanchez, and it lands every time he gets in position and he throws it.
Took a left hand, though.
Yeah, and Frank Toledo, the important point here is, I don't know that he's taking full advantage of what is in front of him. And let's give Acero credit in that sense. He's a clever defensive fighter, even if he's doing it in the wrong manner.
Another very close round and a very pivotal round as well. Into round 7. Who do you like?
Last round, Acero finally says, I'm going to throw a left hook. Landed it. He was in the position to throw it, and it got there.
We were eavesdropping into the corner of Frank Toledo between rounds that time, and all 3 of his people in the corner were talking to him. I think Frank Toledo was just happy that the bell rang just so we get all peace and quiet. Here are the numbers in the 7th round, and again, we said a tough round to judge, and it was just that.
One of the things that was said there that was good by Diego Acero is don't try and load up. Let your punches flow. Don't look for just one shot.
Oh, Acero battling a little bit more.
They want Toledo to come in behind the double jab and then just start ripping punches. And he seems very reticent. Both men are reticent to follow any kind of plan. I've heard one from Toledo. I don't know if Acero has one. As long as Acero stands right in front of him, he can get hit with shots like that. Toledo's not a huge puncher. It's evidenced by the 5 KOs in his 19 wins.
And really, for all intent, he had the TKO in his last fight against Bones Adams, but that was caused by a separated shoulder on the part of Adams, which Frank Toledo and his people are quick to say was caused by a punch. But allowing for that, his previous 8 wins were all decisions.
Toledo is starting to go down to the body a little bit more and pressing the attack a little bit. And Acero is right in front of him. Right in front of him. And so if Toledo just throws straight punches, he's probably going to land something. There's the hook by Acero, and that's important if you can ever throw that on a continued basis.
Slaps with that left hand on occasion, does Acero. Coming to the end of the 8th round now. It's one of those fights that it's hard for me to tell sitting and watching this fight if it's being decided by what Frank Toledo is doing or what Hector Acero is not doing.
Yeah, that's really a very valid point. It might be what neither man is doing that they should be doing.
Yeah. Round number 9 of a 10-round fight. Hector Acero in the white trunks with the gold trim, gold fringe actually, and Frank Toledo, white trunks, blue fringe, blue trim. They must have had a sale on that fringe, huh? Here are the numbers through 8 rounds. And again, a very close fight, really, if you consider the amount thrown and the amount landed.
Yeah, except here's the point. That 20-some punch difference, or 18 punch difference, in a fight where so few punches are being thrown and landed, could be bigger than we think in a way. And granted, the judges aren't counting. God, we certainly know that from past experience.
It's hard to tell how they would see this fight.
It's going to be tough, and I'm not even, I'm not trying to be so sarcastic about it. It's just that it is a pretty close fight in some ways. It's just strategically, Acero has lost so badly. But the question is, what about the punches?
The right hand from Toledo. That's the way I have it, too, 78-75. Well, I think we arrived at different ways to get possible.
Well, and that's a good indication about the fact that the judges may have it in different ways. We may see a split decision here or a draw or whatever.
Frank Toledo complaining that type of entry. Estevez, who does step in and talk to Hector Acero about holding.
You know, what we have here are two fighters who are not bad fighters at all, but who collectively, between them, have gotten together to not make their best fight.
A counter right hand by Frank Toledo.
I don't think either man, when they look at this tape, are going to be completely happy. I'm sure they won't. Toledo, because he'll think he didn't do quite enough offensively to follow up. And Acero, I would assume, because he will look at this and say, how was I supposed to land punches against this left-hander?
Of course, the outcome is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, of course, if he listens to the sound, he'll find out how, won't he?
Yes, that's right.
He said immodestly.
Left hand by Acero.
And both men now, in terms of technique, have gotten worse. They seem to be a little tired, and their punches are less straight even than before. They're saying something.
I'm going to take you to the corner of Hector Acero. Spanish, the language of choice here, so.
Acero tiene que tirar 200 puños tasados. Flush, where's the top? El que tira mucho puño tasados gana, ¿oíste? El que tira mucho puño, no te me descuides. ¿Oíste? Este el último échalo para atrás.
Tienes que ponerle presión. Aquí, esta es o tuya o es de él.
Well, in that corner, I'm sure they must feel some sense of urgency. This is Acero throwing a left hook on the inside. He should be doing a lot more of that and throwing that punch with a lot more leverage.
So I'm sure there will be a little sense of urgency in this man's corner. I would have to think, at least.
Although it's conceivable it's such a close fight that he might end up having a shot at winning this.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it's out of the question that he could have won the fight, although I have a 4-point difference now between these two, but I can see where it could go either way. Numbers through 9 rounds, slight edge to Toledo.
It's kind of held steady at 18 punches here for a little while.
The man has really been hurt in this fight. Acero does have some pop. He's knocked 20 people out in his 31 fights.
And you know, Barry, most of those people I think were probably coming to him. Mostly he has been a counterpuncher when we've seen him, but he's had to move forward against Frank Toledo a lot.
And as he did right there, he walked in a left hand.
Toledo has really gotten away from the body attack, and that was something that was working for him early. This isn't it fascinating? Last time we saw Acero against a very good fighter, Eddie Croft, he was masterful, even though it ended up being a draw. We felt that he had won the fight, and it was kind of an off night for Eddie Croft, in my opinion. But Acero boxed him well. He was accurate. He was pinpoint. You couldn't be 180 degrees more different than he is tonight. And I'll bet you if you put Eddie Croft and Frankie Toledo in the ring, it would be the fight would be close.
Yes. And into Eddie a couple weeks ago, he would dearly like to have a fight with somebody like Frankie Toledo.
There's Acero again trying a half-hearted left hook from the wrong position. If they look at these tapes and they can't figure out what he did wrong against the lefty, then somebody's not paying attention. And I'm not sure somebody paid attention in sparring if he had all these lefties sparring with him. I'd like to know what he did to be effective against those lefties. And in this round, though, an indication of, is somebody really taking over in this round? No, even Toledo really hasn't.
All right, this just falls into that category of another tough round to score. Seconds of this fight, and it is over. And both men raise their hands. And we await the decision.
Well, they hold up Hector really good. They've investigated a lot of things very, very well.
Take a look at the numbers in this fight, and again, neither fighter really took the fight to the other.
And when it's that kind of margin, it really could go either way. I thought Toledo won the fight primarily because of what Acero absolutely did not do. And but again, you could make the case, I guess, for either guy.
So we await the tabulation of the scores.
Now, both men felt a win here would put them in title contention, but will it based upon the level of performance?
All right, let's find out who did win the fight. Here's Michael Buffer to tell us. Mike?
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Lynn Carter scores the bout 99-92. Eugene Grant has it 96-94, and Al DeVito scores it 97-93 for the winner by unanimous decision. From Patterson, New Jersey, Frankie the Shark Toledo.
Well, Frankie Toledo by unanimous decision. And it is interesting, the judges really pretty much agreed. A little bit of a difference, a round or two, but frankly, not as much disparagement as I thought there might be. Excellent win for Frank Toledo. And when we come back on the other side of this commercial break, we will talk to the winner, so don't go away. Despite suffering an early cut caused by a headbutt, is the winner of this fight, an impressive win over Hector Acero. He's with Al Bernstein. Now,
thanks, Barry. Frankie Toledo, it was not a pretty fight, partially because it just was difficult to hit Hector. Even though he fought right in front of you, the wrong position the entire night, looked like he should be able to be hit, but he still got good defensive skills.
Yeah, he does. I tip my hat off to him, but he's a good fighter. He was hard to hit, but it wasn't my best night tonight. He didn't want to fight, though. He touched him with a jab and ran all night. You know, every time I hit him with the body, into the head, he would run, hold, push me down, but, you know, hey. Yeah. Let's get it on, you know.
You did some good work early to the body, and then it was harder to hit him to the body, I guess, later in the fight, huh?
Yeah, it was. He's pretty slick, you know. Like I said it before, it wasn't my best performance, but, hey, we move on, you know. Now, if he wanted to stay there and fight, it would have been a different fight. I would have put him out, but he didn't want to fight.
One of the things that Diego was telling you in the corner was to jab your way in. That was one of the things you didn't do probably as much as they would have liked, and that might have helped a little bit.
Yeah, his reach was bothering me. I jabbed your way in. But like I said, every time I hit him to the body, he would run. Come on, we're here to fight. Let's fight.
Well, that's true. Now, you'd like to move into a championship contention pretty soon.
Definitely. I'm looking for Tracy Passon or Wilfredo Vázquez from Puerto Rico. Let's get it on, man. It's my time.
would you like, and your feeling is that if they would stand in there with you, which didn't happen tonight, it would probably be a little more entertaining, huh?
Right. It depends on the opponent too. You know, Hector Acero is a straight-up fighter. He was pushing my head down, but like I said before, it wasn't my best performance, but we did it. You know, it was hard. I like to say hi to my people back home in Patterson. You know, which is for you, baby.
All right, congratulations, good win for you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Frank Toledo admits that maybe he wasn't as perfect as he'd like to be tonight, but Hector Acero did not make an exactly aggressive fight against him. Well, we're going to have an aggressive fight in our main event. I predict it. But first, let's go to our boxing guide, and then we'll be back for more.